Hello, Facebook and YouTube. We are back. It's been a wild end of year, start of new year. Lots of things going on. Uh, you know, quite a few of my patients got sick, so there's just a lot going on. We're all a little bit burned out. And I was too for the first week, getting back into the swing of things. So let's talk about that a little bit. There's all these good intentions, especially with the beginning of the year, right? Like, yes, I've been eating terrible. I've been, sitting around more than usual. I've been doing whatever, something that you maybe don't agree with, but you're like, I'm going to change January 1st. It's all going to change for me. And then you get a weekend, you're like, man, I can't do this anymore. And so this burnout is a very natural, thing. We're tired. We're busy the last quarter of the year. So let's talk a little bit about that. And I just want to preface that by saying that, when I say quite a few of my patients got sick, that's from burnout, right? Like your body just cannot keep up with what's going on. You encounter something in the environment, the body's weaker in that time because of, just the stresses that are going on, food stress, emotional stress, physical stress, all that stuff, and just kind of adds up and perfect opportunity. So Heather's never been stressed before in her life, but no, I'm just kidding. We've all been stressed, right? But Heather, are you seeing this too? Are you seeing the burnout, or is it just me?
It's just you. No.
No, I knew it.
No, I mean, there is a thing called post-holiday blues. We always talk about there is a difference between burnout and depression, but there are so many overlaps here. And we've had all these things to look forward to. And even though it's frenetic and on top of everything else I'm doing, buy presents and travel and all that stuff, you may have seen family members or people that there's some tension with. That is very draining because connectedness and solid social relationships are vital for our well-being. Getting out of routines and not eating the right things and the inflammation that happens and sleep patterns. But also now it's like, now we're back in the groove and things can start feeling monotonous. It is so important for our brains to have things to look forward to. And so, I would say plan something really fun. Actually, our brains have more benefits sometimes from when we're looking forward to something than the actual event itself.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people be, what's wrong with me? That was a great experience. But sometimes we have this Norman Rockwell thing. If that fell short, that can kind of beat people up a little bit too. A lot of stuff goes in here.
Kind of like when you're when you're really hungry and you're anticipating, you're like, this is going to be the best thing ever, and then you're like, yeah, it's not bad, but it's like in my mind it was like going to be a 10. It was a 7 or an 8. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't as good as what I envisioned, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. So we're kind of we're going we're there's all this excitement, sound, light, seeing people. Then we kind of hit this wall where everybody takes a break. And what you're saying is we should still plan some stuff out. Maybe not quite as frantic of all the stuff we have to do, but we should still plan stuff out because our brains enjoy that anticipation. That's what it's looking for. It's craving some of that, correct?
Yes. I mean, the neurochemicals that light up as we are anticipating an event those things are very, very regulating. And so uh, usually it's not a great idea to plan another like event, maybe when you're getting back because you're trying to get into the swing and that just adds something else. But a couple weeks out, a month out, whatever works for your family, that is huge, 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 huge. Just like we need to celebrate progress and not perfection, progress along the way, not when we achieve something. We always need to have these things to look forward to. Think about maybe everything's been stressful and oh my goodness, I'm working extra hours at work or the kids have been, and you're like, okay, if I can just get through X number of days, then we're going to have a little respite. And now you don't have that anymore. And you're like, the next holiday is not until, Memorial Day. What's up with that?
Right.
These aren't spread out very well. Not to mention, Brian and I were talking right before, and a lot of people set New Year's resolutions, and I'm not big on that. It's better to think about probably year-round intentions, because what happens? There's a thing called it's like the New Year effect. It doesn't just happen on January 1st, although this is the biggest one. You have a pivotal birthday, like you change decades. There are things in there where you're like, you know what, I can put aside my past kind of shortcomings, and this is going to be a fresh start. It takes a lot more than willpower, but willpower goes up during this time at around January 1st. But it is between about January 15th to January 21st, according to most research, when people are done with their New Year's resolutions. And so, on top of all the things we've been talking about, you kind of take your self esteem and start all or nothing thinking, should statements. I always do this, I never follow through. Think about intentions, get back on the horse, and think about why you're doing what you're doing. So we're in this monotony, and things don't seem as monotonous if we keep in mind the bigger picture and how what we're doing matters and connects to other things we care about. Is it really a new resolution, or are you rehashing things that have been on your list for 4 or 5 years? If so, maybe why are you doing that goal? Maybe it's not resonating with you. The why matters, the motivation.
Yeah. I was reading something, and he says you never actually quit something, you just replace something, right? So like, I thought that was a great way of putting it, right? Like, if you're wanting to achieve something, there has to just be a trade-off, right? You can't just keep stacking something on top of, there's only so much bandwidth that you have, right? So you either have to be willing to sacrifice something, not sacrifice, you just need to be willing to trade something for the other thing, right? Like, some people trade sleep, not always the best advice, but it might be sleep, or it might be, hey, rather than watching an hour of TV every night, I'm going to go to bed earlier and then wake up earlier, whatever you may be doing. You're just trading one thing for the other. And in my mind, I thought that was kind of cool, because we often think we have to quit something, right? Like, I got to stop doing this. Well, you can just put something in its place, right? When you have, I want to do this. Oh, well, I decided I'm going to trade this in place of this. And so I thought that was kind of a neat way of looking at it. And it's not like, I feel like when we say quit, we're sacrificing something, right? Like, like something that we can never get back, right? I can never get this back. But if you're just trading it, I can take it back when I want it back, right? So I just thought that was a neat way of looking at it.
Yeah, there was research that came out in December of 2020 related to this. There had been a surprisingly few number of research studies done on New Year's resolutions. And what they looked at was approach. Why are you laughing?
I just thought that was funny. I don't know.
There's approach versus avoidance goals. Avoidance goal is, I'm going to stop being so sedentary. It's what you're going to stop or quit or avoid doing. And the approach goal on that would be, I'm going to take a walk daily. Those who come up with approach goals are, in this particular study, they are 12% more likely, that is statistically significant, more likely to stick with those. And it's because you are, instead of saying what you're not going to do, you are replacing one behavior with another. Just like we can't tell ourselves to not think something. If I say don't think about an elephant, that's the first thing that pops in your head. If you're having a negative thought pattern, you replace it with something else that is much more effective. It's the same thing with these goals and making little short ones. And speaking of things to look forward to, you have look forward to this short little one rung on the ladder that you achieved, and then you do one more rung, as opposed to putting events to look forward to or large goals that are way, way down the line. We're not getting reward chemicals going in our brain that keep us motivated when we do it that way.
Yeah. One of my favorite books is Atomic Habits. I know I've mentioned it before, but it's the kind of the rung idea that you're mentioning, right? It's just small things. He even breaks down like going to the gym in the new year and how just one morning when the clock goes up, you just actually get up. You don't actually even go to the gym. It's just the idea that you did the one step that got you closer. The next day you get up, you put your socks on, whatever it may be, but it's small steps until eventually your brain is just kind of, it loves patterns, right? And so it'll start building on those patterns and those rungs, and you'll start climbing to what you want. And I thought that was kind of a neat way of doing it, because we're all like, I don't do New Year's resolutions anymore, but there's always like I'm going to go work out, and then you go work out 6 days in a row, and then the 7th day you're like, I can't feel my body, or I can't move,
Yeah.
You're so stiff and sore. You're like, I just went all in, and you didn't gain anything. So there you go, except for some pain.
Yeah, and working towards something doesn't mean utter deprivation either. That makes it really difficult to stick with things. And so with your example, like if you want to get healthier, and you loathe working out, and you really historically haven't worked out, what kind of exercise can you do that you would enjoy it for the very, like, y'all know how much I love hikes. I just got back. I mean, I've been in the mountains hiking. I that's health, and I didn't do that because of New Year's. That's like I always love doing that. But that helps keep me in shape, and I actually enjoy it while I'm out there. I love the wildlife and the trees and whatever waterways I see and hills, and it's very mindful. It's a very sensory experience in the right direction, not over, bombardment. But how can you achieve this in a way that you'll like? So small, but also make the journey enjoyable, and then I looked forward to that. I am. It helps you pursue goals, but it also lights up, just like we're talking about, having things to look forward to and connect it. How does what you're doing connect to other people? We don't want to set goals to please someone else when we're thinking about why am I wanting to lose weight? It's because I think my husband wants me to, or and if you keep setting that goal and not reaching it, it's got to be intrinsic to you. I'm setting that goal so I can be a more energetic, engaged spouse and parent and colleague. It is for you, it is important to you, and you have a why behind it. If it's because you want to be healthier for your children and you keep not achieving it, why is health? I mean, health is going to be top of mind, but if you are really feeling your mind go there, are there other things that are impacting your health that you could do? And maybe it's really not about weight. There's
Yeah.
a lot of thought processes to go in.
It can get quite convoluted at points, but I just love the idea of the rung, just kind of working towards something. Because let's be honest, we got Halloween and we have Thanksgiving and we have Christmas, and I know they're all a month apart, but they're kind of consecutive, right? Like end of month, there's things going on, there's traveling, there's food changes, and like when you come back from the New Year's, like I'm gonna get healthy. Every meal is gonna be healthy. All right. I feel like you just get burned out. Like you just like because you're just switching gears so hard, right? Like the transition into eating a lot less healthy foods beats you up, right? And you switch gears back to healthy. It's like your body's like, oh no, what's going on? And so I always try to ease back in, right? Like my goal in the first 2 weeks is 2 good healthy meals, and if the third one isn't as healthy, I'm not going to fret about it because I can change that out the third and fourth week, right? Like you can just work your way into it. And one thing that I know you always bring up, and I love it, is just like negativity around, like it's not our thought process. Like we can get ingrained in negative thoughts. Like you shouldn't beat yourself up over that. Like you're still accomplishing something amazing, right? Like you're changing your diet or you're changing your exercise routine or whatever you may be doing. You don't beat yourself up on that. You forgive yourself, say, okay, I could do better, right? And I'll make
Yeah.
those changes the next day. And so I think that's very important too, because I think people get just like
Yeah.
kind of like that 7-day exercise. They're like, I should be working on the 8th day and I didn't do it. And so they just kind of abandon it where, yeah, give yourself a break. I mean, you just went all in, take time for yourself and understand that you do need time to make these changes.
Yeah. A lot of people really do. We talk all the time about how behaviors and communication, we don't want to ascribe negative personality or character levels to kids who are struggling. It's telling us something, but then we also don't want to do that to ourselves. I failed again. I'm a failure. I'm a loser. What is wrong with me? I'm a procrastinator. We don't want to label ourselves either. It is not a moral deficiency when we fumble. Everybody's going to.
No,
But log that stuff and find out what's getting in the way and then recalibrate. What about this isn't
right.
working for you? Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the bigger things I want to tell people as they get into the new year. Like, I think a lot of people have very ambitious goals, and those are fantastic. I want you to achieve those goals, but there's nothing wrong with you're not a deficient person because you struggle the weeks coming in. Like, it's just hard. Like neurochemically, it's hard on just your body to sometimes flip those switches like that, and that impacts you mentally, physically, emotionally. So you shouldn't beat yourself up. This isn't failure. This is change, and change can be difficult at times, but you should, I perseverance matters too, right? And so understanding that you may have some struggles, but you can do it is also very important in my mind. And so um, don't see slip ups as failures or that you are deficient. We all slip up, every one of us. So
Yeah. Something that you could do as a family or as an individual is I love the just one thing idea. And it goes along with the one rung thing. But even if I've talked to families that are like, I know it's important to set goals. We just have a roadblock here. And so I get them into the just one thing and pull out a blank calendar and write in what that just one thing each day, like on January 14th, the just one thing might be, I'm going to get up 10 minutes early and stretch. I mean, stretching does so many things for our body brain connection. And it's very mindful and regulating. Maybe the just one thing is I'm going to take a vitamin D supplement today. You're not even claiming you're going to remember to do it every day of the month. Just one thing. And then you get your mojo going. And that is, I was 100% successful in taking that vitamin supplement, but it's like little win. It can get the mojo going. Or we know about SMART goals. We've talked about those, but how about sometimes we get hung up on a word. If you have negative threats of thinking that related to, I have set goals and I keep falling short. What can you call them? Targets, intentions. There are so many different words matter. They matter a lot. There's a researcher whose work I really enjoy, and she said, I told y'all I don't like the word resolution. That's just, it's personal for everyone. She said, I don't like the word resolution because to me it conjures up the idea of stuffy courtrooms and laws, like, and so she has another word for it. That actually can flip a breaker in the brain and make a difference. If you don't want to think about goals at all or intentions, what are some practices that you can do individually or as a family or as a group of friends this month? One idea I shared was, what about a word of the month? This month, our family is going to focus on connection. Maybe it's love, kindness, gratitude, health, whatever the words are. Brainstorm, have a family meeting. What word do we want to focus on this month? Talk about what it means, why that word matters to you. And then what are some ways we're going to honor that word? And let's say you chose kindness. Okay, this week we're going to have a kindness jar and catch people being good. And dad did this thing for son, that goes in the jar. Brother did this for sister, that goes in the jar. And visit those things weekly. And by the time, and you can have weekly or monthly practices that you do. You do little things like that where you don't feel the pressure. It's not framed as a goal. That's 30 days. That is long enough to build some healthy habits. And then you sit down and decide what the word of the month is going to be for the next month.
I like that. That's good. That's really good. So almost like a theme, whatever word you want to use, right? Whatever dives with your concept. But I like that a lot. That's good because then also it's kind of like when you're thinking about kindness, right? Like it's when you're thinking about, I really want a red Mustang, like red Mustangs just appear out of everywhere. Like I didn't know there was 500 red Mustangs in my neighborhood, but apparently there are. But you start looking, you start seeing it, right? Like your brain starts searching for whatever that may be. And so you'll start seeing maybe things that you took for granted, not granted, sorry, maybe things you would have maybe overlooked as kindness or didn't even kind of like put the two and two together. Now you'll start seeing it, right? Because your brain is looking for that. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming out of the new year. We're gonna set some sort of we're going to set something in the future, not too far, but something out there that we can be excited for. We're going to set short goals. And what else could we do? That's kind of two things. Is there any other last tips that you would suggest for, because look, I know we come in 3 holidays back to back, but there's always a little bit of burnout after Easter, right? With all the kind of the excitement and all the candy and then 4th of July. So there's always kind of it may be a shorter burnout, but there's still always a little bit of a burnout. We're always kind of burnt out. Or a little bit overextended. Is there anything else you like to suggest or help people, or any other tips or tricks? There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
It is very important to if you are feeling down or burned out, it is important to ask yourself, is it in all realms or is it in a very specific realm? Because if it's in a specific realm, that really is burnout. And so what is it about that thing? If it's in parenting, and I'm kind of ready to hang up my parenting hat, that doesn't make you a bad parent. It probably means you're very empathetic and very invested. Are you engaging in self-care? Is it with work? Is this aligned with my core values? Am I in my wheelhouse? Am I using my gifts and my calling? But if you completely went off the wagon on eating, all the things we talk about sleep and eating right, doesn't have to be perfect, but if you have a couple healthy meals a week and you were having 0, that is still a huge improvement, and
Yeah,
celebrate that.
100%.
Yeah. Um, account, it really matters what it is that's getting you weighed down. What can you give up to? What am I doing things just because? What can I say no to? Back to replacing one thing with another, kind of maybe having a mantra of, if I say yes to something, what am I saying no to,
Like that.
instead of adding to the list,
I love that. Um, I love that. One of the things that I always, is the week after Christmas, I say it's okay not to do anything. Okay. So saying no, right? Like the idea of saying no, like, I mean, so we drove to Northern Iowa, and then I drove to Wisconsin, and then we drove back to Northern Iowa, and I came back during a snowstorm. So on Monday when I had to go to work, I was a little frazzled. But it's okay for you to say no, right? Like you're not. Sometimes I think like we get so wrapped up in seeing everybody and seeing everything that we feel like we need to see or could do something because this is the holiday season. It's okay to say no. Like I'll be honest, I didn't tell many people I was going home to Wisconsin. I wanted to keep, I knew it was going to be short. I didn't want to get burned out trying to see everybody. So I just didn't tell anybody. Not to hurt anybody's feelings. I knew that I would just get even more burnt out. And so I didn't. So, when we come into that new year, especially after Christmas, you can say no. Okay. It's okay to say no. And, Heather mentioned that. And so I wanted to bring that up because I think that's really important. We want to see, especially after the pandemic, you want to see everybody or be around people and just do stuff. We just have that natural desire. And so, but it's okay to say no. It's easy. It's okay. Trust me. Okay. That's what I wanted to say though about that is it's okay to say no, but
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but
Yeah. Go ahead. Go.
no, I was just, that's what I had for today. I don't know if you have any last thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's a good summation to get us rolling into this year.
Woo! All right. I know we changed times, and that's just to mess with you guys. No, just kidding. We changed times just because my schedule is getting backed up, and I want to respect my patients' times. And Heather and I agreed upon this time. And then also, I do have a question for you as you watch this. Would you like an audio version of this? I've heard that this could be, there maybe be some requests for audio. So if it is, please let us know. But this will be our new standard time, 1:00 on Thursdays. And please still write in questions, all of that stuff. We still want it to be the same format. But if you like an audio version, I think there's a way that we can do that and make that happen. So let us know. And this is again for you. So please, any questions, type them out, send us a direct message. We're happy to answer those. All right, Heather, people always love hearing and knowing more about you. So I know you have another podcast. Is it still 11 a.m. on Tuesdays?
Look at that. You said you're burned out. That brain's clicking.
Took me a
Yes,
minute, but I got it.
still is. Yes.
Good.
Yep. And this Tuesday, we're talking about how to raise kids who do not give in to peer pressure, peer influence, why it happens, and what to do to protect that.
Okay, so make sure that you go listen to that because it's very important. It stays up on the page just like this one. So, but they can find it at
the Hidden Churn on Instagram or Facebook, or Brain Balance of the Woodlands, Katy, Mansfield, or Southlake.
All right, go make sure you like those pages, and those are great podcasts. Like I listen to them as well, so go in, pay attention. I always love learning something new. There's always a different perspective that I either never thought of or didn't occur to me. So go make sure you follow those pages and tune in Tuesday at 11 a.m. We will be here next week, 11 a.m. Not 11 a.m. Sheesh. 1 p.m. on Thursday. See, yeah, still a little burned out, but 1 p.m. on Thursdays, and we are here to help. So please, if this can help anybody in your community, friend, family, whatever it may be, please share this with them. This is about you all. So we hope this helps. If there's a topic you want to know about, like whatever it may be, just shoot us a message. We're happy to talk about it. But we'll be back next week, same time, same bad channel. All right. Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you as always. Great seeing you. And thank you for your input.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Bye.